Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon Perna, and today I'm taking a deep look at the Green Bay Packers and trying to figure out if they improved this offseason via free agency and the draft. Oh wait, is Aaron Rodgers healthy again? Yeah? Well then the fucking Packers will be fucking good again. As long as the best quarterback in the NFL, the best quarterback, is healthy, the Packers have a chance to beat anyone. Next video, this one's done. Detroit Lions, That's Good Sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, and if you've already subscribed, click the stupid notification button. I do have big dick Patreon shoutouts for David Trevino upping his donation to $5, Adam Templeman, and Philly Special for their Patreon donations. I really appreciate the support. Patreon allows me to do YouTube for a living, so your donations are vital. Patreon.com/thatsgoodsports. Okay, maybe I got carried away there, all right? I'm not gonna hide my love for Aaron Rodgers. We posted a great article on my website, thatsgoodsports.com, about why he is definitely better than Tom Brady. Instead of open-mouth kissing his son on Facebook, Aaron Rodgers kisses Danica Patrick in an I, Tonya parody for the ESPYs.
I think you're the prettiest girl in the world.
No, you are.
His mustache is better than anything that's ever been on Tom Brady's face, including Giselle. And the Catholics love Aaron Rodgers for making Hail Marys popular again. Rodgers is a football god, but also a man of the people who should easily improve the Green Bay Packers this season, coming off a losing record last year, 7-9, their worst since 2008. Here's my real question about the Packers. Did they do anything to upgrade their secondary, which was awful last year? I like the Packers' front seven, but their back end was like that of a runway model, non-existent. Ranked third worst in the league last season on Pro Football Focus, they were tied for second worst, giving up 30 passing touchdowns, and tied 10th worst with only 11 interceptions. The Packers are as good at drafting defensive backs as John Elway is at drafting quarterbacks. They have taken more defensive backs in the first 2 rounds of the draft over the last 5 years than all other NFL teams, and they have nothing to show for it. Packers fans, you better hope this draft is different because their first 2 picks were corners. Jaire Alexander from Louisville and Josh Jackson from Iowa in the 2nd round. Personally, I think the Packers should have selected safety Derwin James with their first pick before they traded back and then up again. I would have done that because I think Josh Jackson could be a better corner than Jaire Alexander in the long run, and pairing a stud safety like Derwin James with Clinton Dix could have given the Packers a very good safety group, especially after they lost veteran Morgan Burnett. Green Bay did incest their own former corner, Tramon Williams. He's back on the team. This is his 12th season in the NFL. Age is obviously a concern at corner, but he has been very consistent during his career and should provide an upgrade at the position. Now, to recap, the secondary for Green Bay, they added 2 corners via the draft. Veteran Tramon Williams, they lost safety Morgan Burnett, and corner/bust Damarious Randall. I'm not sure if this group is better, but with safety Earl Thomas out there asking to be traded from Seattle, I'd make a call to his fucking agent. I mentioned I like the Packers front 7. As long as none of them are forced to play the most dangerous sport on earth, softball, they should be okay. Softball is to Clay Matthews what motorcycles are to Ben Roethlisberger. The Packers front 7, they're great against the run, but need to get better at consistently pressuring quarterbacks. To do that, Green Bay signed defensive end Muhammad Wilkerson to a 1-year deal. Adding him to a D-line with guys like Kenny Clark, Mike Daniels, Dean Lowry, and Clay Matthews and Nick Perry on the edges could really help those guys finding themselves laying on top of opposing quarterbacks, like freshman cheerleaders or yell leaders, whatever you're into. The depth up front for Green Bay is tippity-top, as they would say if the Packers had a London game this year. Plus, last year's injured draft pick, the 6'4", 306-pound Montravius Adams is already having a good camp on that D-line. Keep both eyes on that guy this preseason. Look, in terms of fixing the pass rush issues, I'm talking more about QB hits and hurries, pressure, because Green Bay was decent in the sack department. Do that, and suddenly that secondary is getting more interceptions and making plays on rushed or bad throws. Last season, they only had 11 interceptions, and if you can get the ball back into Aaron Rodgers' big, beautiful hands, the Shark Whisperer, you're going to win more fucking games. And that's the easiest analysis I've ever done. On the other side of the ball, my concern is the offensive line. Specifically, their tendency to suffer season-ending injuries more often than Netflix adds original series. According to the Department of Motor Vehicles, more Packers were injured playing on the offensive line than people in America were injured in traffic accidents last year. Those are government facts. Last year, Brian Bulaga tore his ACL in November. His replacement, Jason Spriggs, yes, cousin to Jason Biggs, dislocated his kneecap trying to do this. Make love to a fresh pie on the top shelf at Village Inn. Jason, you never try and fuck a top shelf pie. You go for the waist level pies on the middle rack. Another lineman, Kyle Murphy, went on IR when he had to get foot surgery last year. And yes, 783 days is the number of days until I am allowed back in a Village Inn. The Packers signed former Cowboys lineman Byron Bell to add some depth to that offensive line. He's a guy who can play guard or tackle, and if 2018 is anything like 2017, he will have to play both. Probably at the same time for Green Bay. They added Cole Madison in the 5th round, an offensive lineman from Washington State that I've never fucking heard of. What I do know is if you have a white guy named Cole or Clay on your team, he's bound to have long, gangly, disgusting blonde hair. The Packers have been pretty good at selecting and developing linemen from the middle of the draft, so I'll predict this was a dependable pickup. Advice to the line, the Packers line, stop letting this happen over and over again. 3 wide receivers were also added in the draft. That was so Aaron Rodgers didn't murder newly appointed GM Brian Glutkunst after he ditched Jordy Nelson.
Sorry, Brian Gutkunst, not Glutkunst. That's obviously what you work out at the gym.
The highest selection was Jamon Moore from Missouri in the 4th, then Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and the guy who will become the star of this draft class, Equanimeous St. Brown. Jamon, cool name. Valdez-Scantling, cool name. Equanimeous St. Brown, fucking legendary name. He made it into my top 10 draft names video. How are you supposed to cover a guy whose name is both a religious figure and an astrological sign? Yeah, I was born in February, which makes me an Equanimeous. Between Rodgers' Hail Marys and a guy who has the last name St. Brown, if God isn't on the Packers side in 2018, we're all already dead. I hope we're not dead. Green Bay had 11 draft picks and signed Byron Bell, tight ends Marcedes Lewis, Jimmy Graham, corner Tramon Williams, defensive lineman Muhammad Wilkerson, traded corner Damarious Randall for quarterback Deshaun Kaiser Permanente, and lost tight end Richard Rodgers, wide receiver Jeff Janis, safety Morgan Burnett, and maybe the least notable roster move, they let wide receiver Jordy Nelson go. It's not like he and Aaron Rodgers were best friends who could communicate telepathically or anything. It's not like when Aaron Rodgers or Jordy Nelson has an orgasm, the other one can feel it in his own special end zone. In Packer standards, that was an insanely busy offseason. They usually sign like 2 free agents and then draft a bunch of shitty corners. I think Jimmy Graham and Marcedes Lewis may have the biggest impact on offense for Aaron Rodgers. Sure, they're both old, and Graham was only elite with Drew Brees, really, but given they're playing with a guy who hasn't had a legit tight end to throw to since pre-Jermichael Finley injury in 2012, I like their chances for production. Jimmy Graham in the red zone and Marcedes Lewis as the NFL's best run-blocking tight end in 2017. That's a smart 1-2 combo in my humble football opinion. The only thing that could make Aaron Rodgers an even more deadly QB is a better running game. The last 2 seasons, they've averaged 107 and 106.3 yards per game. Hopefully, the addition of Marcedes Lewis with a healthy David Bakhtiari, Brian Bulaga, and center Corey Linsley will help open up running lanes for Jamal Williams, a young back I do really like, and the return of Ty Montgomery, also injured last year. Basically, the Packers last year were like the 2015 and 16 Chargers, losing all of their players to injury.
I'm really sorry, Packers fans. I may have accidentally cursed you by saying that because today was apparently a pretty rough day for injuries at training camp. Again, I'm sorry.
I think Davante Adams is going to have a huge year with the departure of Jordy Nelson. He may be a top 5 fantasy receiver in 2018. I still like Randall Cobb in the slot and believe one of the 3 drafted receivers should emerge as a number 2 or number 3 type player, pushing Geronimo Allison for playing time. Again, the only man with a better name than Geronimo is Equanimous. Probably going to be a 1,000-yard receiver as a rookie. Bold prediction, secret weapon. I stick to my original statement. Just by virtue of getting Aaron Rodgers back, the Packers could be the comeback team of the year. The secondary is still a giant question mark, but based on talent, that defensive front 7 should be able to control the line of scrimmage. I believe the Packers will jump the Vikings and win what may be a very competitive NFC North this year, outside maybe the Bears, and it will be because Aaron Rodgers will win the That's Good Sports 2018 Boomerang Dick Award. Why Boomerang Dick? Because he comes on backs. Credit Tijuana Jackson. It's my version of the comeback player of the year. Boomerang Dick Award. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube. If you like this video, please share it and let me know how well you think the Packers will do. Who's gonna win the NFC North? And if I can make one more of these videos, what team should I do? Jacksonville, Minnesota, or the Seahawks? Tell me in the comments.